Welcome in to this sorrow-filled episode of Geeks and Suits. I'm Tyler Stutzman.
I'm Chase Gerber. This is episode 5 and one of the more depressing episodes of Geeks and Suits.
I'm Ben Gerber. Nonetheless, this episode's titled Fight Night / Out of the Frying Pan in Through the Moon Door. Because we're kind of covering 2 episodes of Game of Thrones.
Yeah!
Which are both filled with death.
Yeah.
And both the title alludes to
One
both
of them
deaths.
was good death, but the other was not.
We couldn't... I can't leave this alone, but I don't want to dwell on it either. I just thought it was funny how in the last episode we ended by saying, we're going to start doing this every week. Immediately, 2-week layoff.
Because this kid went on vacation.
Hey, I tried, but the days just didn't work out. We tried.
It's true.
It just
it's
didn't
true.
work.
Like we were busy for 3 days, and then you were gone for the next 10. So
we fed false hope.
Yes.
But
what are you
we're
gonna
sorry.
I'm sure there's not that many people broken up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm assuming like 31 viewers or whatever. That's my guess.
Views total. Who knows?
We got
views total.
Yeah.
One creepy dude might have been watching it. Though.
Maybe. I only watched.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, creepy dude.
Folk at home.
Yes.
Anyways.
So yeah. I don't know. Where do we want to? Do we want to start?
We should pour out first.
Oh yes.
We should pour some out for one.
Avoid the cables. Pour it out
some
for,
out
for our lost
Oberyn.
Oberyn. That's a lot.
It's okay. He deserves a lot.
Sad
He
day.
deserves it all.
Hey, I got the white film off the top of my
This
water.
came
That's
from the
good.
dirty sink in our basement.
Yay! So yeah, we're gonna start off by talking about Viper Mountain.
Great.
How there's, and we'll get to this in a minute. Especially between you and I, you don't agree as much, but you and I are kind of on the side, and you more so are on the side of Moondor was disappointing,
Yes.
and it's more because they split it up as opposed to how it was what actually happened.
Yeah.
Well, they split it up in the sense of when
When things are
Lysa
revealed
spills the beans
about
in episode 5. That also in the book happens the same time she's pushed up.
So that's why it's
like
such a
right
huge-
before she's pushed out.
That's
the
why
moon
it's such a
door.
huge thing. And so the point of me bringing that up now, before we actually get into it, is that was a scene that was a huge scene for book readers and for us. Like, it blew all of our collective minds when we read it individually. So you could say that the show, in a rarity, didn't quite do it justice.
Yeah. But we'll get
But the
to that
Mountain
later.
Viper
On the flip side.
completely did it
Perfect.
More.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
was more. I'd say the only thing that was missing, and this is from like almost like a completionist standpoint, was the fight would have been longer and they would have gotten closer to the crowd. That's
yeah.
but I mean, you
Because
don't care.
it
Doesn't matter.
In the book, Sir Gregor gives 0 Fs and slices a small kid's head in half.
Yeah.
At one point, because the way I guess it's situated in the book, there's like a crowd of people, and that's the ring that creates the ring, and some people get a little too close and get their head sliced in half.
Which is kind of
Which would have been,
ridiculous.
I think it would have been cool to include.
Yeah.
It would have been cool. It also might have completely taken away from the uber violence that we got
True.
in regards to the.
There
to what
was
happened to Viper.
already some gut wrenching violence.
Yeah.
In the
So,
fight.
in case you have seen it and are still trying to digest it,
We feel it.
it's tough because
It's tough.
it's still vicious in the books. Like, Oberyn does the exact same thing. Like, he's got the mountain beat, but you can just tell that he wants that confession. He needs that confession.
He goes
And-
more. It's funny in this like Game of Thrones world. If you go for anything more than just straight up surviving,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna die.
Yeah.
Probably.
And he went beyond just trying to kill him.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
The mountain came into that to kill a man, and the Viper came in to get revenge.
Mhm.
And
But his way,
Yeah.
the way he probably has dreamt about it for years.
yeah,
He had this whole plan in his head how exactly he
Mhm.
wanted it to happen.
yeah,
Which, if you've watched Game of Thrones for more than 3 episodes, you know you can't believe in your dreams
yeah.
in
Yeah,
this
you
show
can.
at all.
Yeah.
So in the books, it's kind of similar in that
Mostly.
it's
very
the same pretty much up until like I think the only difference that the way I saw it was I saw Oberyn like getting his face beat in, like punched into like
In the book-
smithereens, and not have
The
having
that
his
actually
eyes,
does
like,
happen
pressed-
in the book. I reread over it.
He grabs him with one arm.
Yeah.
The mountain grabs him with one arm and clutches his head with his one hand.
Yeah.
And his one thumb is going into his
Yeah.
eyes.
Okay.
But he
There is some eye
wails,
action.
he brings his fist around and impales his head then.
Okay.
It's not a full-on squeeze your head till
Yeah,
it
just like
smashes.
smushing
Yeah.
the eyes until the pressure explodes your head out.
But then again, we get the mountain literally squeezing his skull
Yeah.
till it shatters, and then we get like a Gears of War headshot type of
Bust.
deal, just completely exploded.
It's amazing, like
to the point you like can't even tell there's a head left on
reading all the reactions on the internet. It's hard to tell what people found more terrifying: the crunch and the pop of Oberyn's head, or the screams leading up to it from Oberyn, and then immediately
Ilaria.
after, from Ilaria.
That
Like,
I'm team Scream. The
Yeah.
Scream because I knew he was
it
gonna
was
get his head
vicious.
smashed in either way. But hearing such a suave dude, a guy who's been so confident
Yeah.
his entire existence in this show, who did everything his way and was completely awesome about it in every single way, to hear him completely
Reduced to that.
scream his head off
Hmm.
in sight and realizing he's dead. It's over
Yeah.
for him. The scream just it killed me to hear that kind of guy scream like that.
Does it since it's fresh in your memory from the books, does it mention him like screaming or wailing in the books as well?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure
I
that
think-
first Mountain's first blow to the head pretty much does it, and everything else is
Just
It
vicious
wasn't like
follow-up?
a
it wasn't like a
formality,
slow
yeah.
burn smash.
It
Like
was
it was he grabbed his
Yeah,
skull,
just-
sure.
and just yeah.
But I think in the book too, he was still just so taken aback, like, oh my god, he's got a hold of my skull, and he's about to, and he couldn't even finish his thought. Probably.
Plus,
before he was
it's
bashed in.
from Tyrion's perspective, so he could even like, you could make the argument that Tyrion like stopped hearing all things
Mhm.
because
Right.
it's just one of those moments where like when you see it happening, like everything rushes away from the world, like
Well,
and your senses just fail.
yeah.
I had read the passage too before the episode, and after he has his head smashed in, I remember it saying Tyrion didn't even hear his father sentencing him,
Yeah,
which we did
yeah.
hear in the TV
Yeah.
show, and I thought, oh wait, it was because he didn't hear it, so we never heard "I condemn you to death" or anything.
Which
like
brings
that.
me to my next point about this scene, and it's something that I commented about on Reddit actually, was all the facial reactions afterwards of Cersei with her
smug
with
bitch
her
face.
smug little wry smile, and Jamie with his just like,
Jamie was hilarious to watch the whole time.
yeah,
They showed about 5 or 6
Yeah.
of his reactions. And before the fight, he had told Tyrion, I've never seen him fight before.
hmm
Oberyn steps out there with the spear and spins it like
Immediate.
he's Darth Maul
yeah,
for like a good 10 seconds. And they show a shot of Coster Waldau's face. He's just like, oh my god, this guy
guy's
is a
fast.
man. And he was just like, okay, here you go.
the
But then it was up and down throughout the
Yeah.
whole fight. He was like, oh god.
he
Oh,
reacted
yes.
perfectly. But
Yeah.
for me, the best face, and part of this is camera work too, but Peter Dinklage's reaction was like the face that he made, like the first one, like right after it ended, where the camera like cranes down and then like
And
it
you-
shows
yeah.
it, and he's just like his eyes are just closed in like complete disbelief, like
Mhm.
oh
Complete
my god.
defeat.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's
And
it.
then after that, it shows like everybody else. It shows Tywin sentencing him, and the last shot where you just see him like mouth agape,
Mhm.
looking into nothingness. Like you see, like I've somehow managed, despite what I said on Sunday, I've somehow managed to watch that scene a few more times, and it was more for everything leading up to when the mountain grabs him, and then
The reactions,
immediately after with the reactions, because Peter Dinklage's face in both shots, for me, that's better than his speech in the trial. Like, it's just his face tells more than any words have at any point in the series. It's unbelievable.
The last 3 episodes, whether it's by his dialogue in his acting or his reactions in his acting, he is beyond Emmy worthy, I think.
Yeah.
It's
And the worst part is
he's killed it.
He probably is going to take the nomination away from Pedro Pascal, who deserves one too.
And just to throw this out there, thank you, Pedro Pascal, for making the Viper.
Yes,
So insanely good.
I want to follow him in like whatever movies he ends up being in.
He's
I'm
be
sure
so good.
He's gonna get roles left and right.
Definitely.
He's gonna get all kind of offers,
Yeah.
and I want to follow the dude now. I wish he'd get cast in Star Wars now.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn Christie just got cast.
Yeah.
And I wish he would like just follow suit with her. I think that'd be awesome.
It's so depressing because it's not like he's gonna be on the show again anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He was so fun for those 8 episodes, but
now he's
now
gonna...
now it's not like we can bring him back.
Let's not forget either. He's almost gonna have, I think, a Ned Stark like influence though with his death next season.
Oh, absolutely.
Because next season, it's not really a spoiler, but next season there's gonna be a lot more involvement with Dorne. With his family and
because of his
with his daughters.
That's 2 Martell royal children who have fallen with Tywin Lannister's involvement at the forefront.
The mountain.
But he is the most, appreciated and most coveted, member of that family.
Yeah.
He was always loved by everyone. And they're not gonna just act. They're not.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some retaliation.
That's one thing that I'm noticing that it feels like a lot of people are missing is that.
That's just the start of Dorne's story.
It's like great, he died. So now what? Mm-hmm. It's like he came from a place we have barely even heard of. There are 2 members of his family that have now died in King's Landing. They are going to be pissed off. And ready to do something about it.
I know a lot of book readers speculate too. He almost chose to get killed on purpose.
Yeah.
So he could get the whole country of Dorne involved and make them attack King's Landing. And that's far fetched if you ask me.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
But either way, it's gonna propel some other things.
I don't think that holds any weight.
I've been shocked. Well, not shocked because. Okay, I know that there's a lot of people who watch the show or read the books that they think Martin has a very nihilistic approach to this story.
Mm-hmm.
And by nihilist, I mean he kills off people left and right just
because.
For no meaning. There's no meaning to
every
life.
Death.
There's no meaning to death.
That is completely wrong.
I understand. I don't agree with that at all. I understand why people think this specific event causes them. I understand why they think that after they read or watch this.
Yeah, because he's around for less than half a book.
Especially in the book, you read the Red Wedding, and like 250 pages later, this happens.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you're just like,
it's a little more than that.
Either way, it's within a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it's within 400
My
pages.
point is, you read that and you're like, Martin is a dick right now.
Yeah.
He is really being a dick to you, almost. And you almost want to take it personally and just like, why are you messing with my feelings so much?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's the case. That it's a
there's
approach.
definitely reason behind this.
Every action has an opposite
really,
reaction.
all the major deaths, as much as we hate them and we didn't want them to happen, major deaths, they all have a purpose.
Yeah, it's true.
A huge purpose.
Ned Stark's death, well, really, Jon Arryn's death was what started this.
the
what
reason
we're
the story
watching,
starts is
John
because of
Aaron's death is what
Mhm.
started everything we have seen.
Yeah.
And people probably forgot about that until like 4
It was
weeks ago.
brought up.
Yeah.
But Ned Stark's death causes the North to revolt. Renly Baratheon's death causes Stannis' army to get even greater.
bigger and be able to
And
march on
Blackwater.
Blackwater.
Yeah.
And then Robb and Catelyn's death have a purpose of defeating the North, but
It causes other people's storylines to be more important.
yeah,
That's the
there's
thing is
some
when-
there's some things that we can't that have purpose yet that we can't bring up just because
Oh, right.
they haven't happened in the show yet.
Could happen.
And yes, hopefully.
Soon.
And now this, as we see with Oberyn, it brings up the involvement of Dorne eventually. That's not as much of a I don't want to bring that up because that's not like a spoiler.
They're just,
like the
they're
level
going to
of
just
some
be
of the
more
other
involved
things.
in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think too of
And same for Lady Lysa's death
Lysa.
too.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
before the fight? Jamie and Tyrion had that scene about the Beatles and
The
their cousin Orson.
Beetle Mether.
What did you guys think that was leading to?
I have no idea. I still haven't
Really?
figured it out.
I instantly thought right away they're talking about Martin.
Well, that's what I'm reading online.
I thought right away Martin is the cousin,
Mhm.
and Tyrion almost is sitting in the audience there with us asking, why do you do this, George? Why do you keep killing these people?
Yeah.
And it almost sort of addresses that idea of nihilism in the books
Mhm.
of there's no rhyme or reason, they just
It's
die or
like
whatever.
they were preparing us for
Right.
what was about to happen.
I
You
thought
know, they did some. They made some really clever things with that last in the Mountain and the Viper. That, along with another comment that we won't say because
Oh yeah, Littlefinger.
we can't
We
really
won't-
say,
we
we
won't-
can't say anything.
yeah,
about
we
it.
can't
Yeah,
say
no,
anything
we
about
can't.
But
Just foreshadowing.
I think it's so cool the way the showrunners they incorporate these little things into the
Right.
into the show. Like
Yeah.
I thought that scene, it was good, the Beatles scene or whatever. I don't mean to go back to it,
No,
but I thought it was kind of poorly timed because
of what was about to happen.
because the whole episode we had been going from place to place, and all we're thinking about is, oh, we've got the fight on the line. We just want to see the Mountain and the
I
Viper
actually
fight.
said that like 15, 20 minutes before the end of the show. I was like, we're 30 minutes in. How have
So-
we not seen
So we
this fight?
we finally get to King's Landing, and then we have to go through that 5 to 7 minute monologue, and I think people were really antsy at that point, and I thought, okay, yeah, this is nice and everything, but we really at this point just want to get to the fight.
Do you think they would have been better off opening the show with it?
I thought about that, and that's the
Uh,
only place I think that maybe could have worked.
Either that
But
or
I
the
still-
episode before.
see,
I understand too that it's very connected to the next scene.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever going to be placed perfectly.
I think what would have been better is if like in the early stages of that episode, if they had some sort of like announcement through King's Landing, like the Viper, a judge in this thing is Tyrion's champion, like like
mentioning it in
like
King's
mentioning
Landing.
it, like because when it's announced at first, it's kind of a big deal since
Yeah.
Oberyn is a judge of the.
And he's
Well,
a
the way it
daughter
happens in the
child,
book
too.
is Tyrion says, "I demand a trial by combat," and it was already arranged that between him and
Yeah.
Oberyn that
Yeah.
Oberyn would be his champion.
Yeah.
So Oberyn stands up right away and is like, "I will be your champion,"
Yeah.
and it's in front of everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, I wish there would have been something like that, or just some scenes to like some sort of lead up,
Mhm.
to like.
I don't think it
That's
was
one
that
thing
big
about
of a
the
deal.
show that I don't always appreciate as much, is like when they save the big moment for the last scene. I'm completely fine with that, but when there's no build up in the episode before that.
I mean, we
Like
did.
Mountain and the Viper, the Moon Door, Daenerys last season when she sacks Astapor and gets her unsullied.
Yeah.
Like there's no lead up before that at all.
I mean, the previous episodes there were.
Yeah, but I mean, in the episode itself, it's just
Well, then
something
you
I
worry
haven't
about the potential for giving away a like shock factor or something like
I
that.
guess, but
I mean,
I
I see your point, but I mean, it's just like and now this is I think as good a time as any to perhaps switch over to Moondor. When we're talking about subtle differences and things like that, where you're trying to go for shock value, you can't always necessarily take straight from the books.
no, you can't.
You've got to take away a few steps.
You have to kind of go down to, and I'm not trying to demean people who aren't readers of the books, like this is going to sound like, but for the most part, people that watch the show only don't have the attention span or don't have
a casual show watcher.
Yeah, they're a casual show watcher, and something like that. Like if they see that coming, then perhaps the moment is ruined for them. Where like you look at the Moon Door when Littlefinger shoves Lysa out of the Moon Door and says that he's only ever loved one woman, your sister, as opposed to only Kat, which is what it is in the books.
Meaning Kat.
We were all pretty much collectively annoyed by that because it's such a great line. But I asked a couple different people about that, like within a week, and they were like, yeah, I would have never known what he meant by that.
I was fine with the change.
So
I was like, whoa, that's not what he said.
I was fine with that change.
But still, the larger point is that sometimes you have to change these things for the moment, as opposed to giving any sort of like obvious foreshadowing. Not like foreshadowing like we saw this past week with what we just mentioned about Littlefinger, but like real things like if Oberyn had that conversation with Tyrion beforehand and then mentions it in at the trial, like basically we're being told twice, and
there's no
in a show that has so much to pack in, you don't want to repeat. You don't want to repeat information if you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the previous episode that was established.
Yeah.
So there was really no point.
Yeah. So and plus it made in the next episode it added some nice drama of trying to figure out who could be his champion, because you had Jaime, knew he couldn't do it. Then it comes in with Bronn, he bails out.
And I mean,
he
can you
sold
really
out.
blame
No,
him?
he sold out.
He did sell
for
out.
doe skin gloves.
See, actually,
soft as virgin thighs.
He was in the books. I remember being way more pissed off at him than I was in the show.
Because he came off more as a prick about it.
Yeah, he comes off saying like Tyrion is like worth less than spit to him, and that their friendship never meant anything. Whereas in the books, it's like, or in the show, they try and salvage it, and they get like the handshake, and Tyrion's like, "You're right. I would have done the same thing if I was in your situation."
And they say these showrunners are heartless. At least they did not break our hearts with
with such
shattering
a
the
likable character
bromance
in Bronn. Yeah. So it added a little more drama. But okay, so anyways, Moondor. I
have a problem with it.
I knew you did.
I know you.
Out there. And I do have a big problem.
I think I have the same problem, but I'm less annoyed by it than you are.
Well, I'm not. I don't think I'm annoyed.
I think we're pretty much. Yeah, we're pretty much on all different.
Yeah.
Like if this is a triangle, we're on all three sides.
Well, I definitely understand. You know, it's a TV show. It's drama. They got to dramatize everything.
Mm-hmm.
They got to switch things around. You know, I realize that. You know, they're gonna make changes.
Could we make a lista of your problems with this episode, or do you not have 5?
I don't think I'd have 5.
Okay. Alrighty.
You know, I really didn't have really problem with Mountain the Viper. I just say I think it would have been nice, but I really don't have a huge problem with it.
I don't have any problem.
Moondor, I do have a problem because I know it's the book, but the whole reason it's such a holy shit moment is because, you know, Lysa's freaking out and threatening to throw Sansa out the moon door.
Yeah.
And you don't know that she's behind John Aaron's death yet.
Mhm.
And so he comes out, and then she's, Littlefinger comes in, and she kind of starts freaking out. She's like, "You were the one that told me to put the tears in John's drink. You were the one that told me to poison him and everything."
And
you're like, "What?"
your eyes are just like,
And your eyes get real
ding.
big,
Yeah.
and then 2 seconds after that, Littlefinger throws her out the moon door. And then it's like, it takes it to a whole nother level.
Mhm.
And it's like those two combined is what make that such a huge moment in the first place. Whereas here they split it up, and both scenes for me kind of seemed a little underwhelming. Whereas together it would have been a whole much more like shock factor if they were together and you got both of those at the same time.
I'll go first. I agree with everything that you just said. I think that the reason that I don't have as much of a problem with it as you do is the point that I was making before about, to a casual show watcher, that's a lot in one scene.
It is.
And that's why I think that Benioff and Weiss broke it up. Because they knew that if all that happened in one scene, there's an even greater chance that it gets missed, because it's like you get all these revelations of like he made her, or he convinced her to kill her husband, and then he convinced her to send the letter to the Starks, and then he throws her out, and it's like if you get all that information, it's probably almost immediately undone by the fact that he then reveals that he's never loved her, he's only ever loved Catelyn, and he pushes her out the moon door. So it's too huge. You said it's a holy shit moment. I'd go so far as to say it's two holy shit moments rolled into one, like, half page. It's like
back to back.
It's like less than 10 lines of book writing, and all that happens, and it's so much so quickly, and because of its position in Storm, that's why it's even bigger, because it's the last chapter.
Right.
So that's how they leave you. So on top of that, you go back and reread it tons of times, because it's how the book almost ends. And
almost.
So you have to I don't like it, but I completely understand and kind of agree with the decision to do it, because of appealing to casual show watchers for the sake of dramatization. You knew that some stuff was just going to suffer. It sucks that such an awesome moment like this does.
And I accept that, I've had to endure the worst book to movie ever to make me realize that books will never be the same as movies.
Yeah.
And I understand it. I'm okay with just about every change they've made in Game of Thrones, the show, compared to the books.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think this is the first time they really messed up and should have stuck more to the books rather than split it up. For me personally, I mean, they're both still great scenes.
Yeah.
Littlefinger pushing Lysa out the moon door, that is a great scene.
And the reveal that I'm glad people had the chance to actually realize. Yeah. Even if they didn't catch it right away, when they go back and they're like, oh. And they realize, like, what has just actually been said. So it would have been nice, though.
Yes. I agree completely with what Tyler was saying, how it's one big holy crap moment after another, and it really, it's hard for, I went back and read that chapter, and I remember the first time having to reread it 3 or 4 times to make sure I just caught everything that happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have to do that with a lot of books.
When you contrast mediums from book to TV, things can happen so fast in a TV show moment like that, and you don't even realize what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the other big point I think I'm going to make about it this season has really spread out the oh shit moments.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
almost pretty much one per episode. Has
I'd
not
say
oh
that's-
shit
yeah.
or controversial or just a big moment everyone's going to talk about every week.
Yeah.
And it was episode 5 when that reveal was
Yeah.
shown, right?
Yeah. Because 6 was the
That
trials.
I remember reading reviews and listening to podcasts that week. That was what everyone was talking about.
Mhm.
That was the big headlining moment.
What was the ending of that episode? Of episode,
Episode
5?
5?
Was it? It
It
was
was,
either the
um,
White Walker.
It was Jon Snow and
White
company.
Walker was episode 4.
Was that
It was
episode
Jon
4?
Snow and company raiding Craster's Keep and destroying it.
That's right. Because
Hodor.
it ended on it
And
ended on the
Hodor
fire.
Unchained.
It ended on the fire.
Right.
Of
and
Craster's
Ghost
Keep.
coming back.
Right.
So yeah.
And so there was that
I understand
moment,
why
but
they
I
would've
remember
ended
a
with that.
lot of people talking about, holy crap, so this is why we have been watching this show for so long, because
Yep.
of these two people. That was a huge thing. And it was in a season where most of the things have been shocking deaths or shocking social moments.
Mm-hmm.
A big twist reveal like that was more subtle and a nice change of pace, I think.
Yeah.
And if you would have put it all together, it would have been a nice subtle reveal and then, oh, look, another death.
Yeah.
Because as awesome as it is watching people die one after another a lot of times, this show's also been good at making other moments a really big deal. And a lot of times it's almost better when these moments come up instead of deaths. It's been really good at presenting those other kind of moments. Those other kind of twists
would-
besides people dying.
I would still rather have it together.
I want to make another one final point, I guess, before we attempt to move on to our third topic, if we even get there before we go to
Where
our
are we
least.
at?
We're like 30 plus minutes. After seeing reactions to the Viper's death, you would never realize that this same season we have lost Lysa and Joffrey. You'd never know. Because
People are not being very thankful.
Nobody fixates on the villains that they hate being killed. Because it's
all
like,
about
it's
the
like
heroes.
good, they got what they deserved. When the heroes die,
It's an
it's like
outrage.
you burn people's houses down.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable seeing the reactions to that. Like,
And I
it's-
totally do not get that because when Joffrey died, I fell to my knees when I read it.
I know.
I screamed.
It was
And-
great.
I was
we
so
watched
happy.
we watched it with people, and then watched reactions on the internet, and people are just like, eh.
They're like, yeah,
like,
all
don't
right,
you
yeah,
hate
yeah,
this
yeah.
kid?
It's like you just spent 3.5 seasons growing the most unbelievable, passionate hatred for this guy, and you don't care that he just died.
Enjoy your payoff.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I
And
couldn't believe people
with-
weren't more up in arms and excited
With
about it.
Lysa, it's not, everybody was happy because she died because she was a weirdo and breastfed her kid at age 14, but she'd only been in like 4 episodes too, so it wasn't like a huge
She wasn't
deal.
a major pain in the
Yeah.
butt by any means.
Joffrey was,
Joffrey.
but it's like, it's seriously like no one cared that, or at least at this point, maybe like right away, people were like, woo, finally he died.
Right, but
And now, like, you'd never know at this point because now that the Viper's been offed,
Everything
anything
looks
that came
outrageous.
before it doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
It's unreal to me. Like, it's almost like a complete lack of appreciation. Like, George R. R. Martin finally killed characters that you hate
Exactly.
and you don't care.
Mhm.
Why do you think that it?
And this is why we this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is why characters that we like keep getting killed off.
Yeah.
Because we won't appreciate when things do go our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even because you remember hearing everyone saying, "Oh, well, he could have gone a worse way. He's just dead.
Yeah.
He's finally dead. Just take it and run with it."
What did you want too? I mean, the kid got poisoned
And he didn't look like he was having fun at all.
Did you see the color of his face? It was dark purple.
It was called
Dark
the Purple Wedding for a reason.
He died
exactly
in his mother's arms. His mother, Cersei, who
Choking.
we also hate.
So we also hate to living death.
Didn't die, but she had to watch her child die helplessly in her arms. So we got to see her suffer hideously. Now, unfortunately, because she's still alive and she's the queen regent,
she
immediately
biatch
gets
mode.
to turn around and use her power to do things her way.
Right.
But she still had that moment of, like, my son
Horrible
is
feeling.
dying in my arm. Like, she had...
Right.
The only difference, really, between the Red Wedding and the Purple Wedding is that Cersei didn't die.
Cersei didn't get her throat cut as soon as she saw her son die.
Yeah.
That would have been
Catelyn
nice.
Stark had to see her son die in front of her and really know it was coming. Cersei didn't see that coming, but still saw her son die in her arms. She just, because she's the queen, had the power to do something about it, regardless of whether there was any truth to it or not. And so the point of that is, listen, show watchers, and I'm talking directly to you here. Chase, I want to cut on my screen. Show watchers, I'm talking to you. Appreciate the fact that these characters have died. Not just the good ones, that like the Viper or whatever, but your Joffreys and your Lyses. And
Viserys's.
yeah,
Carl died.
Viserys's. Yeah,
Carl died. There have
okay.
been bad people that have died in this.
Anyone who is going to die in coming seasons that you hate.
I'm not saying it's
Appreciate
gonna
it.
happen.
Yes, of course.
Maybe.
But appreciate it. Even when bad things happen to bad people. If they don't like the Cersei watching her son die. Appreciate it. Because it
doesn't come around very often.
It doesn't come around very often.
Too often.
And I feel like it's being completely taken for granted. So show watchers, get your shit together and start appreciating the fact that Joffrey Baratheon is dead. He choked to death on poison at his own wedding in his mother's arms, and you act like you don't even care.
Also,
I'm pissed.
Also, he was this close to bedding Marjorie.
Oh,
That just would have been a waste.
That might have been my last thought. I'm not gonna lie.
all right.
Anyway,
Do we want to talk about Jorah? I'm pissed off.
I don't think we need to talk about Jorah.
Very
It
sad.
was coming.
I will
that
mention
came way later in the
Way
show.
later,
than the
but
books.
it was coming.
different.
I will mention this. Game of Thrones is the only show, and it's done it twice this season, that does make a 3 seasons ago callback like this.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other show that does things like that
Yeah.
at this point. And it's because it's following a book, but there's no other show that goes that far back. The only thing I can think close to is Breaking Bad, Ozymandias episode, where everything goes to hell in Breaking Bad. Brings a callback to Jane when he looks at Jesse in the eye and said, "I watched Jane die."
Yeah.
And that was in season 2. That's, I think, as close as we can get to something like that.
At least current day.
Right.
So.
But there's no other show that does that far back of tracking.
Mhm.
And I think that's awesome.
But yeah, it's a little different in the books.
Yeah.
There's a kiss involved.
Yeah, well, that's at the beginning of Storm of Swords, even.
But
That's
even
while they're
still, I'm surprised that
going
never
nasty.
happened.
Yeah,
I don't mind. I wasn't really.
Yeah, I'm not upset by it either. That's one thing that it doesn't bother me. I'm just surprised it never happened because it seemed like something they could have so easily gotten away with doing, and it just never happened.
I thought, what was it, 2 or 3 episodes ago it was going to happen. When
Yeah.
he's with her in her
I know.
war
Yeah,
room
I was gonna
or
say. I know
map room
exactly
or
what
whatever.
you're talking about.
I thought
Yep.
that was a very possible moment. That
Yeah.
was gonna happen. But it wasn't.
Yeah. So Jorah, Outcast.
We'll just say this: we haven't seen the last of them.
I was just gonna say, do we reveal the fact that that he?
Well,
comes
It's
in?
not a
it's
big
too
deal.
late.
He's
It's not a
yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, we haven't seen the last of Jorah, and on top of that, I think people are going to be very surprised by who finds him.
I was shocked.
Fair
I was excited actually.
I was. Too.
I saw it coming, but
And-
that's far ahead of the point.
And this isn't making this isn't a spoiler either because every actor in this show is good, pretty much.
Mhm.
But the actor whom he gets to team up with now. I can't wait to see those two interact and work off each other.
I know it's going to be really interesting.
I'm really excited.
It's going to be quite the pairing
for the person that he has to act with next season now. Prominently.
So, what do you think it'll be next season?
Oh yes.
I think it'll be next season.
Actually, yeah, they'll almost have to.
If they are going to finish this in 7 or 8 seasons,
it's going to have to.
Everything in the
next
Dance with
books.
Dragons and Feast for Crows has to be done by season 5.
Or middle of season 6.
I'd say they have to get it done.
Absolute. For some things, like I could see maybe.
We can talk about it after, I'm sure, too, in more detail.
There's one character in particular, and I'll tell you guys after because I don't want to spoil anything. But there's one character that I could see them dragging the storyline for them currently and over the course of the next 2 books out through season 5 into season 6. So, alrighty.
Anyway.
So that concludes Game of Thrones. There's nothing else really to talk about. Well, the NBA Finals. I don't know.
We said we'd talk about sports. I think we should talk about finals for a little bit.
Okay, we can talk about the NBA Finals.
Okay.
Spurs and Heat rematch of last year.
And of the 2 rematches we were possibly getting, that's definitely the better one.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
Did you see? Well, this is a side note, but did you see Westbrook didn't make an All NBA team today?
Probably. Well, he was injured half the season.
That's what I thought would be the maybe excuse. But
Anyways, I don't know. Who do you guys got?
I say Spurs in 6.
Spurs in 6.
Like it should have been last year.
Like it
my
should've been.
yeah.
And
If it weren't
Game
for
6,
1 rebound.
if there's a Game 6, it will be in Miami this year. They've gone back to the 2-2-1-1-1-4.
What? 1-1-1.
That's
Yeah, they
so
went back.
stupid.
No, I like that better.
I hate it.
I think I like it better.
It makes more sense, honestly.
Yeah,
I almost
because
wish
think
they'd
about
rather have the 2-3-2 in the earlier rounds and then go for that in the finals.
Here's the reason. I heard Jalen Rose talking about this today. Why the 2-2-1-1-1 makes more sense. Especially in the finals, if you are playing, even if it's the best team in the West versus the best team in the East, which I think it is this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I hate to say that with
Yeah.
the East.
Exactly.
Well, there's no good teams in the East.
If you are the team that doesn't have home court advantage and you have your 3 games at home, even if you have those 3 games at home, how often is, of the top 2 teams, one of those teams going to win against the other 3 straight times, even if it's at home court?
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing.
It's almost like a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, here's the thing. The biggest problem I see with the 2-3-2 is like, let's say they do the 2-3-2 this year, and let's say the Spurs come out, they win the first 2 games, goes to Miami, Miami wins the next 3. Now, it's hard enough for you to win a Game 7 on the road in the finals. That hasn't been done. I can't even remember when. Before the 80s.
Yeah, we'll have to research that.
How much of a chance would you give the team that doesn't have home court advantage to win a Game 6 and 7 on the road to win an NBA Finals?
Right. It's the same idea for when the home team goes 3 straight games against arguably the best team in the league. It's almost unfair to sequentially go home game, home game, home game, home game, home. Like,
Yeah.
It's just, I like when they mix it up and they go back and forth because momentum shifts more often.
Mm-hmm. So
I think it's more fair.
that's what the 2-3-2. Any thoughts, Tyler, on yours? Oh my gosh,
Our door just creaked open
That was.
by nothing. It was wind.
Oh my goodness! I swear our house is haunted.
Well, that's terrifying.
Anyways.
You just got the picture of me, and now I'm leaning this direction like I'm probably in your shot.
Yeah, it's okay.
That is
was
creepy.
creepy.
Yeah.
I want to say Spurs too for a few reasons that.
I can't concentrate. I'm genuinely terrified now.
Do you want to close the door?
Not really. I don't want to get up and do anything either.
Yeah, we're just gonna leave it. Anyways.
The Spurs are overall better this year.
Yes.
From top to bottom, they're in better health.
I wish we could get a shot of Tyler.
You can close it. Just
close
I
step
don't
towards
want to. This is
it.
scary.
You just want me to?
Just close it. Come on, man. Man up.
Okay.
Got it.
I assume
Should
it
we
just
tie the
wasn't
door?
closed all the way.
I don't think it was closed all the way.
That door
Yeah,
sucks.
it's tight. It's
Yeah.
closed tight now.
Anyways.
Yeah, that was the
Top
most
to
manly
bottom.
thing I've done today.
Top to bottom, the Spurs are better
I'm sweating.
and in better health.
Mhm.
I know Kawhi Leonard and Manu Ginobili both were not in the best condition for the finals last year. It didn't look that way when
Mhm.
they played a lot, but they
Yeah.
were behind a step here
Or
and there.
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker
was
had his
injured.
ankle,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's a big reason. I also think, besides LeBron James, Miami's digressed.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I agree with that.
I could
completely.
see Cole and Birdman being the two,
X factors.
and people that have not digressed.
Yeah.
I don't think Chalmers is any better. Wade's just getting older. Bosh
He
has
is
found
playing-
a new role.
Wade is playing better than
He's
he
been
did
playing
last
all
year.
right though.
Yeah.
he's
He
been
hasn't
playing well.
consistent, though.
Yeah, he hasn't been consistent, but I still think he's playing better than he was in the finals last
Right.
year.
But at the same time, you're not wrong if you choose Miami simply because LeBron James is again arguably at his peak, as he seemed to
He's
be.
still the best
as
player in
he's-
the series.
Oh,
as he
definitely.
seemed to be every year. It seems like, okay, now he's at his peak. Okay, now he's at his peak. And every year he keeps.
I would
keeps
say
something up.
I think he was a little better last year, just because, it's what happens to teams when they're going for a three-peat.
The wear and tear. You're
He's-
saying wear and tear has gotten to him?
Yes, I think he has carried the load. The last 2 seasons, he has been carrying the major load.
Major
And major load. Thanks. Anyways, he's had to carry so much of the burden that I think it's taken a toll on him. Even though it's not, you can't really see it. But
kind of like how when athletes disguise when they actually have injuries and
yeah, well,
they don't show it
It's-
sometimes.
I'm trying to think how to explain this. Like, LeBron can't take another year of carrying the Heat like he did. You know, Wade played like 2/3 of the season, if that. You know, and they've had so much. He's just had to carry so much of the burden, and it's the 3rd season now he's doing this.
Or
And
they're
that's
playing,
so
like,
hard.
They're playing about the maximum amount of games
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And
Plus, he
yeah.
played the Olympics after his first title.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know one thing for Jordan after his first retirement, he played 92 season. He played all the way to the finals, won it, played the Olympics,
next
then
season.
right into 93. And by the time it was over, he was just worn down,
Mm-hmm.
and he lost the drive for it, and he retired basically.
Well, think about LeBron. Even since he's gone to the Heat, I mean, every season he's only lost one playoff series possible
Since-
since he's been to the Heat. So he's played
Almost the maximum.
This is his 16th playoff series in 16 possible playoff series since he joined the Heat, and that's on top of the Olympics
Mm-hmm.
in 2012.
I think too when you compare LeBron running through that same path as Jordan, it's been 20 years, and athletes I think can recover a lot faster too.
Yeah.
There's better medicine. There's
yeah.
better work.
Sports drinks.
Yeah, equipment, like
better methods.
everything. Yeah, better everything.
And also I think he's of a more athletic specimen than Jordan was as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely.
Well, yeah.
MJ was just he was the better competitor.
Better competitor.
and he
No,
was-
LeBron is definitely more
he's-
gifted.
Yeah.
No
Physically,
way
Physically
saying
gifted.
physically,
it's
LeBron is absolutely better than Michael Jordan.
Absolutely.
In almost every other way.
It's becoming more
yeah.
arguable by the year. but-
It is, but I mean, at this point,
It's still Jordan. by a long
statistically,
shot.
competitively, I still have to give it to Jordan. But
Oh,
definitely physically,
I'm writing a blog on this.
physically,
Yeah,
it's
you're
LeBron.
It's long.
I don't know about you guys, but
LeBron.
I'm still not a fan of LeBron. I don't care about the Heat, whatever. But this year, I've felt myself cool off in terms of
Hatred towards LeBron.
I have not.
not hatred and criticizing him. it's whatever. I like watching him play. I will admit he's incredible to watch.
Yeah.
And I've been astounded the way he handled the Pacers series.
Hmm.
You could just tell he figured it out. Even in that game, it was like there were like 1 or 2 games. He didn't score that much. He didn't have that amazing stats, but you could just tell by the way he was playing. He had figured them out. He knew where to drive, when to pass. He just knew what was coming.
Well, and you have to remember also that Pacers team just fell
Right.
flat on their
Right.
faces and got dragged along like this.
And
Also,
honestly, I think-
they didn't play anyone before that.
Yeah.
No, well,
Hey.
neither did the Heat.
Well,
No,
yeah.
I'm saying the Heat didn't play.
Oh, okay.
Well,
The
gotcha.
Pacers had trouble.
the
Yeah.
Heat have really lucked out because, and I mean, obviously there's nothing they can do to help it, but
No.
they've had the easiest road to the finals maybe ever.
Hmm.
The first two
Possibly
teams
this year. I think this year's been the easiest.
in the East, yeah, because the first 2 teams they played, if we take the top 16 seeds in the NBA, the first 2 teams they play aren't even in the playoffs.
If you took the top 20 seeds, they would.
No, they would have.
What is it?
Top 20.
Is it 20?
I don't know the exact number, but if it's
I'm
the top 16
emphasizing,
seeds, 16 seeds, there's 8 teams in each conference. If we take the top 16 rather than the top 8 in each conference, the first 2 teams they play aren't even in the playoffs.
That's how good the West has
Honestly,
been.
honestly, it was only
yeah.
the Heat and the Pacers that would have even made it in the West.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you are right.
That's why I'm afraid. That's why I'm not sure on taking the Spurs, just because they've had to grind so much harder against the
Yeah.
teams they've played.
But at the same time, Miami hasn't played anyone near as good as the Spurs.
It's the difference
Yeah.
between rested versus on a roll.
Mhm.
Anyway, for my pick, I think San Antonio is definitely the better team, and I think if they are healthy, but that barring no major injuries to like Duncan or Parker or Kawhi or any of their main core group of guys, I think the Spurs win in 5.
So you're saying a healthy Spurs win in 5.
Yes, I am.
I'm sticking with my Spurs in 6, regardless of injuries.
Regardless of
I think that the Spurs won
They
it this
picked each
year.
other up in that Thunder game
Mhm.
when Tony Parker was out for the second quarter. They can, or second half. They
oh,
can.
they
do
can.
I
If
think
anyone can, it's the Spurs.
I want them to win, and I want Tim Duncan to ride off into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I want.
If
Yeah.
the Spurs win, are they the most storied franchise post Jordan era
Absolutely.
over the Lakers?
Yeah, I would say yes because
Longevity. That's what
the
I mean.
longevity,
Since
Not
Duncan
counting-
got drafted.
Yeah. Not counting that 99 team that won originally.
They're still great.
Well, even after that, ever since after that, Tony Parker and Manu have been there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they just keep bringing in new guys around them.
Around
and,
that
I mean,
initial
it's
nucleus.
that core. And
That
I
they
mean,
have
they've just
never
been great
traded
for so long.
away.
No,
There's been like slight doubt. Wasn't there a rumor for a while that Parker
Yes.
was going to be traded or
Yes.
he wanted out?
I think
That was the only
yeah.
time I think there's ever been a rumor
Ever
that
since- no.
those 3 guys wouldn't play together.
Yeah, and I mean, even before that, the Spurs you had Duncan carrying Robinson finally to a title.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say so. The only team that might be able to make an argument would be the Lakers, but I think the big thing there is that those first 3 titles they had Shaq to
Mhm.
go along with Kobe, and
Right.
Shaq was the guy and Kobe was
Yeah.
the sidekick, and so I think that would affect that.
If the Heat win, are they a more storied franchise post Jordan than the Lakers? Because those are the only 2 other, I think, franchises you could say has kind of had a
Not-
dynasty.
Not necessarily. It definitely be a toss up.
I think it.
I think you can make the argument
make the
for,
argument.
but
they've got
I-
4 straight finals now.
my
You have to take that into consideration.
yeah, I think my problem with it is that unlike the Spurs, Miami, and this is just more from a competitive standpoint than anything else, but Miami bought their latest
build.
championships. They didn't build.
Mm.
They went out and found.
Well, I mean,
And-
they
well,
arguably bought their first too.
yeah.
With Shaq.
Well, they
for
traded
Shaq.
for Shaq.
But then so did the Lakers
Yeah.
with theirs.
The Lakers have always done that though, since
Yeah.
the days of Kareem.
Yeah.
The Spurs built their titles
And it's
from
more
the ground up since 1999. Like they've gone out and acquired these like ridiculous role players that have sucked everywhere else.
Mhm.
But I mean, the guys who have brought them their titles
are still there.
have been there. LeBron wasn't there for the first
Right.
Heat title. Bosh wasn't there for the first Heat title.
And it's
And
not a knock.
For the Lakers, Shaq wasn't there for the last two. Powell wasn't there for the first three. Like,
Neither
these
was
are the
Bynum.
same guys from the Spurs,
Mhm.
from the first one to potentially
The very last.
the last one.
It's not a knock either. I mean,
I mean, even now,
as a
the
Cleveland
Heat-
fan, I wouldn't care how we got a championship, whether we
No.
bought it, whether we built it, whether we traded
I don't.
teams
I don't
completely.
even care. I don't even want us to be in the discussion for like best franchise ever or best
No.
dynasty ever. I don't care.
We just
No.
want
I want a championship. That's
Yeah.
all I want.
We
at
got to
this
start
point.
somewhere.
We just
Yeah.
need 1 year.
So, but I think it is more cherished and appreciated, just because it takes more patience, more coordination,
Yeah.
and development.
Mhm.
And I think it's so rewarding to watch players grow in a system
Mm-hmm.
and discover their role and expand out and
Yeah.
just become more involved in a program for so much longer.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see, like, I really want Tim Duncan to just dominate this series and win MVP, because I think I told you this on Sunday. Like, the only other player to win NBA Finals MVPs that far
15 years
apart,
apart or something.
15 years apart with similar numbers is Kareem.
Yeah.
No one else has done that.
Mhm.
That'd be crazy.
And I mean, that would be absolutely insane. And it'd be something to be said about Duncan, because he's been with the same team. He
Putting
won
up the
his
same
first one with
numbers.
the Bucks with Oscar
Right.
Robinson. And
For
then
the
he went
sake
with the
also
Lakers.
of that Game 7 last year, that bunny he missed.
Mhm.
The look on his face after
The most Tim
The
Duncan
shock.
shot ever.
the shock on his face as he was running back down the floor because it didn't go in.
Yeah.
How did that not go in? He's made that shot
I think-
1,500 times.
I think
15,000 times.
Bill Simmons wrote in the book of basketball actually once. There was I forget what series it was, but there was a Larry Bird shot that he had made. It was in, I think, whatever the first finals was that they lost against the Lakers.
The
where-
first one they lost, it'd be 84.
Maybe it would have been
85.
later than that because
I
I
think
think
it
it
would've
was.
been 85.
I think it was later in his career. I think it was like late '80s. For some reason, I'm thinking like
87 maybe.
yeah, where it was the most Larry shot ever. Like in near corner,
Yeah.
spot up three, and something he's made thousands of times, and he missed it, and they lost. And it's like everybody in the building knew it was going in, and it didn't go in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like I remembered reading that, and then after seeing that Tim Duncan bunny that he missed
Same
last year,
sort of feeling.
it's the exact same thing. The difference is that the legend never really had another chance
Mm-mm.
after that, and the Spurs have
That's
this
another
mulligan
reason
this
why
year.
I'm really, really just hoping Tim has an
Yeah.
amazing series.
Yeah, just averages a double-double for the entire series.
Yeah. And he can. I mean, he's going against Chris
Oh, yeah.
Bosh.
Yeah.
And Bosh is greatly
Who-
improved, but he's not an elite defender by any means.
No,
Duncan-
especially if Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Do you think they put Bosch on him or Anderson?
Do they start?
I don't think
Anderson?
I don't think either one stops him.
Yeah,
I think
don't
they start
either.
Anderson.
I mean,
Unless, well,
they might.
th-
It depends
this-
on
that's,
matchups.
That's the other thing is this series is going to be about small ball so
Yeah.
much.
Well,
Small ball and pick and roll.
Yeah, which would mean Duncan is the guy on San Antonio. He's the dominant big
Mhm.
guy in this series. So
alrighty. Well, we're at like almost an hour. Do we want to do the Lista?
we could save it.
We could save it for next time if we want to.
Okay. Well, that
Yeah.
I agree. I think we should, but I'll give a hint. it sort of has to do with what's on my shirt. Although now it makes wearing the shirt irrelevant, other than
Tonight.
being nerdy.
He has to wear it
But-
next time.
Yes, so double RoboCop shirt.
So,
Okay.
But yeah, let's just do that. That's easier.
Next time.
And maybe
Yeah.
we can do an episode full of listas.
We should do a Lista
lots of
episode.
Lista
And
episodes.
then we
Lista
can just
Once
talk
Game
about
of
it.
Thrones ends,
Yeah,
we'll
once
do a
Game of
Lista
Thrones,
episode.
yeah,
We'll
that
do a Lista.
a Lista episode.
Purely Lista.
6 or 5 or top five lists.
Okay.
Cool.
Anyways,
So-
All right. Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Yes, thank you
Thanks
for
for
tuning
sticking
in.
with us and watching the entire thing, hopefully. And I
Probably.
hope I didn't frustrate anyone with my rant. Sorry. So.
Lights.
We're out.